give you more reasons to follow the homie Sil for the latest news, scoops and moves he's about to reveal. From coffee talks to special brews, I'm out of burgers for meals. A cup of bourbon with that tea that's about to get spilled. Like, what's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. Take out your pen and paper, sit down and take notes. Sil is the realest among imposters, scavenging cutthroats. So, what's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One of a show, let's go. Between DC and Marvel, they both have a startle. Disney's moving finicky, let's not mention Star Wars. All these movie execs be drunk off their power, disconnected from the fans in the ivory towers. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. When they keep making the same mistake, that's what you call insanity. They can't even acknowledge their self-inflicted calamity. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One of a show, let's go. Scoop Senator, Coffee Talks, also covering analytics, making his own reviews, cause it's always been the critics. They clout chasers, money driven, repeating the latest gimmick. Come over to Sil Nation where true vision is given. Listen, what's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. Let's not forget Mikey's son, always special to the crew from day one when him and Sil got together for special brew. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One of a show, let's go. I guess I'll finish on this note. When the niggas go flip mode, they turn gremlins, I'm Gizmo. Come from my people, my kinfolk. For them I ride for and kill for. With this till I'm skillful, you can really escalate till it all goes abysmal. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. I'm a watchman, forever vigilant, steady watching and listening, disciplined, militant, killing these dudes that started visiting. What's the latest word? Yo, Sil, we need to know. Tell us what you heard. Yo, Sil, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One of a show, let's go.
What's good? What's good? It's the weekly show. This is the WB Paramount Saudi's DC SnyderVerse weekly show. We got plenty to talk about today, man. Much love to Sil Nation. We see the menu on the right here. Several things to discuss. Obviously, the big one: DC Studios flamed out at CINEMACON. Now, I don't wish this to happen, folks. We just got to cover the news. People get so upset. You get different opinions. They mad your opinions are not theirs. You still got people, so-called Snyder fans, being ill-informed. You got those looking forward to restore. We're going to talk all about this. I'm just saying, anything can come up on the screen. Y'all should know. Amongst the CinemaCon highlights was Highlander. Henry Cavill Highlander. We're going to discuss that footage. Now, shout out to the members. It's talking about flaming out. I flamed out this past week because I was supposed to cover the CinemaCon several times. I'm still going to do a nice wrap-up video for YouTube members. So become a member, just $1.99. You get bonus live streams, bonus videos. So I dropped the ball as well. Now, it wasn't just DC. I dropped the ball as well, but I got to definitely want to have a lot of CinemaCon highlights. Become a member if you want more of the film discussion, box office, things like that. And like I said, bonus live stream. So much appreciated. Also, Avengers stole the show. We'll talk about that. I mean, as it should. And again, it shows how far away DC is from where they need to be. Marvel just showed you. So we're going to talk about that. Obviously, every Saturday, we're talking about the Paramount WB deal, the facts about it, not just feelings, not just what you want to happen, what's actually happening. So we'll discuss that. And obviously, Restore. We're talking about Restore every week. Much love to Sil Nation. Much love to those in the chat. Mr. J, back with the membership. Again, more cinema. I'm going to do a nice wrap-up CinemaCon coverage. And side note, and again, that's for YouTube members. For Patrons, because that's a separate platform, Patrons, I got an update on the Avengers Doomsday plot. Okay? So with Patrons, you get all of the rumor roulettes and things like that. I do some public ones as well. You get all the rumors and gossip stuff. That's on the Patreon, the leaks. For YouTube memberships, that's where you're getting the bonus live streams, film coverage, more of what you're kind of already here for, more SnyderVerse stuff, more Paramount deal stuff. So just kind of show you the separate platforms right there. Shout out to Mr. J throwing out gifted memberships to everyone. So if you caught a gifted membership, first off, let's smash the like, make sure you subscribe. First thing you do, and these gifted memberships, they usually come to those who are active in the chat or who smashed the like. So if you haven't already, you may want to smash a like. You may want to throw a comment under there so you can capture this free membership. So again, as I was explaining, the YouTube memberships is bonus live streams, bonus coverage of film, geek entertainment, SnyderVerse, Paramount business, things like that, right? If you want some of the leaks and exclusives and rumors, you become a patron. Link in the description for that. So appreciate Mr. J spreading the love of Sil Nation. That's what Saturdays are for. We come here to spread the love and clap some fools, but we want to spread some love first. We gotta get the love out of the way first. I see you all over there on Facebook as well too. Love, we gotta proceed with love, and then people gotta get probably slapped up. We're also on X, Twitter. Make sure you're engaging with this stream over there, and obviously on YouTube as well. Definitely more content to come across the board. Just I got busy this past week, so no more excuses. Now the homie Jules is not here. She's busy this weekend. But hopefully she's checking this out as well too. She may jump in the chat and smack some people up too. So plenty to discuss today. So let's see. Let's see who captured. Jovic got a membership. He's always so active, so he knows he's going to get that. CJ got a membership. Murphy's Pool. That's what's up. Let's see. I think it's two more. You get Gary. Shout out to Gary over there on Facebook. We're going to connect, man. Me and Gary, we were supposed to start doing this little interview tour. It's like a year ago, right? It's like over a year ago. I want to get back into that mode because people did enjoy me connecting with different people from the comic book industry and other just type of genres. So we'll get with Gary to talk about that some more. Nike Boy, I see you in the chat. Carlos, I think we got a couple more memberships still floating around. So comment in the chat. And we'll you may grab one. JT, what's good? It's like raids on steroids. Yeah. I did see that. Yeah, so become a member. We're gonna talk more of films overall, for sure. Now let's just get to the main topic. We coming off the top rope with this DC failure. Now, this past year, man, I tried to be I was optimistic about a different take on DC. Still saying that SnyderVerse could be an Elseworld thing, like Zach said. So you can still have your Reeves stuff. You can still do the Todd Phillips stuff. So, the more DC, the better is what I always felt, right? So with that open mind, I was like, James Gunn, what you got? Show us what you got. Right? Creature Commandos came out. I thought it was actually decent. Obscure characters. That's right up James Gunn's alley. And they had a couple Easter eggs here or there. Some interesting just DC comic stuff. And then the finale, it's almost like Gunn got to the finale of Creature Commandos and was just like, I don't even know where I'm going with this. So let's just Scooby-Doo this up. That's seems to be a theme of Zack Snyder's stuff. It's almost like a J.J. Abrams type thing where he tries to present these mystery boxes and then he just fumbles the execution at the end, the finale, the conclusions. So that's what happened with Creature Commandos. Bad Beast, what's good in the chat? I think I shouted out Nike Boy. So 2025, that was the year of Gunn, DC. You get James Gunn Superman, right? Superman 2025. And again, a different take. I was looking forward to different aspects of the film. I walked away with like a mid feeling. Just a mid feeling walking away saying this isn't the best Superman film ever. Like, I don't know. Well, I know why people tried to start saying that, but it wasn't. The best Superman films, you talk about Donner and Lester and Snyder. It starts there in any order you want to put it. And then there's everything else after that, though. There's some people that say, "Oh, Man of Steel is the greatest Superman film ever." I don't know. That's the people could debate that all they want. I'm not going to argue with that. The Donner cut, Superman 2, is like a combination. It's really Superman 2, Lester, Donner cut, however you want to put it. I thought that was the best Superman experience, that I've had, growing up. And then I put Zack Snyder's, Man of Steel. And then the original Superman film. So I kind of have it in that order. The Superman 2, cut, Lester, whatever, Man of Steel, Superman, the original movie. Then there's everything else. James Gunn, Superman didn't come in that top 3 for me. I do like Superman 4, Quest for Peace. So maybe it's a guilty pleasure, but I kind of have that right after that top tier. Again, I'm just talking about my childhood, man. And then that's when I start considering James Gunn Superman, probably the 5 slot. But it's not worse than Superman 3. I think Superman 3 was my one. Superman Returns, I fell asleep in the theater. And it's hard for me to get through that film. Superman 3 was just kind of all over the place. But maybe over time, we've gotten a little more respect for Superman 3. Superman Returns, no. But I can say securely James Gunn Superman is better, in my opinion, than Superman Returns overall and Superman 3. And that's just kind of where it's at. Like, it didn't change the world. There's nothing stamped on pop culture because of Superman 2025. Just a year after, several months after, it doesn't have like this cultural imprint. But it made decent money domestically, enough of a profit where you would do a sequel, right? And so that goodwill that you felt you got from Superman 2025, you would think you would carry it over, to the next film. Like, in my opinion, I'm starting to feel like I don't like this 2026 idea for DC. You do 2025, you get a Superman film that made a little money, and you kind of just chill out. Actually, 2026, go ahead and put your series out, put Lanterns out. I mean, Brown Lanterns, we'll see. And kind of lay low this summer. I mean, you probably could still sneak out Clayface in the fall. But I'm starting to feel like the Supergirl film just wasn't a good idea as your follow-up of Superman 2025. Because any goodwill, any of that, it could have been overly fluffy last summer. it's not carrying over to Supergirl. You could have carried it over to 2027, in your Superman saga. Supergirl is kind of disrupting something here, right? And so this leads us to the CINEMACON and what's being said about DC. So this is alarming to me. I was, like I said, I was busy during the week, but I was, looking on my phone while at work or wherever I was doing and seeing the updates of CINEMACON and all the great stuff. Like, again, members, we're going to talk more about this, like the new Michael B. Jordan film. They said he has another banger coming that he directed himself. The Amazon MGM panel. We'll talk more about that. Highlander, we'll talk about Highlander specifically today. The Universal panel, they said did great. A lot of different panels did great. Obviously, the Disney stuff. It was standouts all across the board, but almost universally. See, because people think, oh, just Snyder fans saying this. Almost universally, everyone hated the DC panel. That's just where we're at. Now, there was a few other things that, in a sense, they said, let's see, all the big studios did good. Like we said, Disney, Paramount, actually, because everyone's ready to just crap on Paramount, and Paramount came out with some bangers overall. So even Star Wars had decent reactions. Everything except DC. Mars, what's up in the chat? These three are the pinnacles: cinematic Superman films, storytelling, visuals. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, Superman 2. I mean, the first Superman films, I like 2 better than the original. So the first 2 Superman films and Man of Steel. You put that in a box set, you could sell that forever. Like quintessential Superman films. And then just everything else, in my opinion, after that. Manny, what's good? What's good with you, Manny? And we still here on the lookout, man. We still here on the lookout. So the CinemaCon event, again, this is in Vegas. We've been covering this for several years on this platform. We've always been looking at the CinemaCon as a true gauge of theatrical hype. Because mostly at CinemaCon, there are theater exhibitors, people who own theater chains across the country. You have some studio execs. And then they started mixing in some shields the last couple of years. But you get exclusive footage there. Sometimes they screen an entire film. At this event, they showed the opening to Dune, I believe. They showed an extended Supergirl footage, Odyssey. So they're just trying to hype up these theatrical owners saying, hey, go all in, with these films. We're coming out big. Obviously, Avengers, we'll talk more about that. They had a nice trailer there as well, too. So it's about building up hype. This isn't like a fan event. This is business. We're putting your best foot forward. And this is the crowd that's saying that DC fumbled. Again, it wasn't just a bunch of fans there. You had shields there. Even some of them weren't too convinced. So what were some of the complaints about DC? We're gonna get into it today. Of their presentation. And this is what some people are saying, and I'm going to tell you what I'm hearing as well with this. The first knock on the DC Studios presentations, you had Peter Safran there, right? He's the business guy, Peter Safran. And James Gunn, for some reason, was a no-show again. He didn't show up when David Ellison visited the Warner Brothers lot. And Gunn didn't show up. at CinemaCon in Vegas, but David Cornsweet was there, but not for DC. I don't know about what's going on with that. But Cornsweet got to think about his other options out there in life right now. But so yeah, Peter Safran there. No mention of Batman Part 2 at all, which I thought was the first red flag of this DC Studios presentation. If all this DC stuff is under Safran and Gunn, your ace in the hole, your ace up the sleeve, I should say, is Batman. Okay, you're talking to theater people. They don't care about your pet projects. They don't care about crypto animated or Maxima and all these other obscure characters. They want Batman. So the first thing coming out of their mouth was, or the first or last thing that comes out of your mouth should have been Batman. So I found that odd, just from the beginning, because they mentioned Man of Tomorrow. Just say, hey, hey guys, we're about to start filming it. It was a video of who's that? Gunn, Cornsweet, and Nicholas Hoult. And it's like, okay, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But it was like, is there anything else you got? It was just a quick video, and it's like they were gone. According to them, it wasn't a lot of excitement around the Man of Tomorrow video, and that the theater exhibitors learned nothing. I guess we'll pause up. They learned nothing about Man of Tomorrow. It's like, if you're hyping up business people saying, hey guys, like, we're just here to say hey, and we'll tell you something soon. That wasn't hype. These business people was like, why do I want to see these three faces? This is the new Trinity? This was hot? I'm gonna dump in a bunch of marketing dollars for these guys? Y'all ain't got nothing to say. And this whole James Gunn thing, and this whole buddy verse that James Gunn is doing, this placeholder universe, has not, crossed over to like blockbuster levels. It just hasn't. So this isn't selling. Just show us Batman. That's all. Again, this is what the exhibitors are saying. Just show us Batman. I don't want to see James Gunn and Cornsweet pretending to read comic books. Gunn is Batman. Is this a new Trinity? Like, when Gunn came in the door, because we remember this vividly, end of 2022, he said, I know the DC fandom is fractious. It's a fractious fan base. Y'all want a haircut? Y'all ain't getting a haircut. Get out of here with this haircut. Yeah. But it's a fractious fan base. That's what Gunn came in the door. So I'm thinking like, oh, he's going to heal the fan. Is he going to attempt to heal the divide? No, all James Gunn did was self-insert himself. Now, that's fine. That's fine. You're the writer, you're the producer, you're the director. So I get it. You better knock it out of the park. Superman 2025, $619 million in the box office. It didn't kill it internationally. It did okay. I mean, it did great domestically. But just overall box office, again, it made less than Man of Steel. So a film 13 years ago, you didn't match it with this reboot for whatever reason. The answer isn't more of the same. And just, again, according to theater exhibitors, all James Gunn with this little video, it's like, oh, just more of the same. Hey, guys, getting the band back together again. I'm sorry. That's not hype. That's not hype, man. Now, if you were a huge fan of James Gunn's Superman, then you're getting more of the same, and you'll probably be happy. I think it's going to do exactly the same business. So that's where that's at. Now, with the Clayface, because we'll get to Supergirl. Supergirl, the most comments came about Supergirl, and not in a good way. But with what was it, Clayface, probably was the highlight, but the bar part wasn't too high for Clayface, given again just the no Batman, a buddy video about Man of Tomorrow that the theater exhibitors really didn't care about. They were just like, okay, if you have no news, just don't say nothing about it. So that was one thing. And then Clayface, of the things of DC, this got the highest marks. They actually showed footage. They actually showed a trailer. It was a trailer of Clayface. In the trailer, they show Matt Hagen. His face is bandaged up. You probably saw the behind the scenes stuff. He had his bandages all over his face, and then someone pumps him with the chemicals, so you see his origin in the film. In the trailer, they have like flashbacks to what his life was, and then they show him transform. They show like the body horror, his lips sealed together, and his hands is like morphing into stuff. So they're just like, it was an eerie trailer. It didn't feel DC at all. That's one thing that, now you could take this either way with this, right? I'm intrigued by what, Clayface could do. I'm intrigued with that. But they were just like, this was just a horror movie. That's what we're getting. And it's like in vein of almost like a Craven type of thing. It's what they're saying. If you remember with Craven, it's in the Spider-Verse, but there's a whole Sony Spider-Man-less verse. They said that's what they're kind of feeling with Clayface. It looks cool. It feels very eerie. Again, they said his face is changing. Almost like they said the CGI actually looked okay, what they were showing. And they're really playing with the whole, again, his face could change and practical body horror as well, too. So I'm good. I'm good with what Clayface could be. The point is, if your presentation included your Superman sequel, announcement, or whatever you want to call that little video they sent, a whole presentation of Supergirl, and Clayface ends up being the most interesting thing you showed, and those who were saying this looked good, they didn't say, I was just blown away. They're just like, hey, this is the best thing they showed. And I'm still like mid-hype on that, is what they're saying. And horror films don't sell a lot. I mean, you got to really cross over like crazy, like Weapons, films like that. Conjuring. Can Clayface do that? Cool. Great if it does. I hope it does. But it's not a good vibe if this was the best that they had, right? So it's a little unsettling right there. According to some there, they said the audience was mildly intrigued by Clayface. So for keeping count right now, they were underwhelmed they were unmoved. They were indifference to the Man of Tomorrow video where you had the new Trinity, right? They were unmoved by the new Trinity. They were mildly intrigued by the Clayface. And then this is supposed to be the showstopper for DC right here this year, Supergirl. Now, this past year, this was the film I thought I wanted. Director Craig Gillespie, I thought would make a very interesting film. You throw in a little action and see what we got. Now, Craig Gillespie isn't an action director, so that should have been my first red flag with the Supergirl. But I was more intrigued with this film because, I think Millie Alcock is going to be great in the film. It's just everything else around her could be an issue. Not now. It was some influencers online. You had some shields in there, and they was like, "Oh, the Superman clip that they showed was." They said it was good. They showed an action scene. So Kara was fighting some aliens, and you had some pirates, and you got all kinds of stuff going on. And one thing that many have said that saw this scene was that Supergirl has a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. Now, we got to talk about this, man. Oh, man. We got to talk about this. First, let's make sure we smash the like. Let's make sure we subscribe. We got to talk about this, man. I think it's a misconception when people bring up this Guardians vibe, people take it all different directions. And I want to make it very clear my stance on this whole Guardians and what is that supposed to mean. You know, Gunn will be taking a victory lap if Clayface does well, acting like he has something to do with it. Yeah, Clayface. Well, I mean, you're talking about a film they spent like $40 million on. They're not going to spend too much on marketing. You're talking about a film. I mean, they wanted to get close to 100 million, and they'll be happy. That's where the bar is at with Clayface. They get over 100 million, then they would feel really good about Clayface. The thing is, it's not going to make that instantly. It's not going to make nothing overseas. They don't really support American-based horror. This is a horror film, Clayface. And maybe they spent too much on it. If 40 million is the number, maybe that's too much. Because you're talking about a film, you're probably making less than 10 million opening weekend. We're talking about Clayface, long-term forecast here. And you're hoping that you get good word of mouth and you can leg out a couple more weeks. So, I mean, that's a film. I don't think it's going to make that much, to be quite honest. Just based off the footage and what people are saying about the footage, they're saying there's nothing DC about it. There's nothing spectacular. It's just a straight up horror film. You know, he's in Gotham, but it has nothing to do with Batman. So, I don't know. It's tough because last year I was like, oh, DC 2026, I can't wait for the comics, the animated, the series, live action films. Now I'm like, maybe they should have kind of chilled out for 2026. Like, if that was a win, Superman 2025. I'm talking about just purely off they made some money off of it. Let's chill out 2026. Let's make Man of Tomorrow. Make your Jimmy Olsen show, your little goofy show. And let's lay low because Avengers is coming. Then 2027, do the best you can. And I don't like this option they're taking. So yeah, so we'll see. Supergirl. So again, okay, the Guardians thing. Okay, so multiple people. I'm talking about so many people seeing that footage. It's like, oh, it's a Guardians feel. Now you get people automatically saying, and this is what I said when the knock on Supergirl was, oh, it's just a Guardians of the Galaxy film. I'm like, well, I mean, Guardians isn't a bad film. You know, it's not a bad comparison. I mean, hopefully it won't be as quirky, you know, as Guardians, but as far as an aesthetic, a Guardians aesthetic, I'm not mad at that. But then you look at it, what was the goal for the Supergirl film? At the very least, the goal of the Supergirl film was to, you know, tether on to the hype of Superman 2025. You're expanding this universe. Yeah, you can do your own little style, but you want to make this like a cohesive cinematic universe. I thought that was the plan. So if you had Superman as a quintessential James Gunn film, and you want to carry on whatever hype you get from that, you don't go and make a carbon copy Guardians film. I think this is a total misstep for the feeling of DC, a DC cinematic universe. So saying, "Oh, Guardians," it feels like Guardians is not saying it. It may not even be a bad film, but this isn't DC. It doesn't feel like DC. That's what, again, just several have said. Seeing the footage of Supergirl. Got Carlos here. Piece of that 40 million could have been used to add green to Green Lantern suits. Oh no, Carlos off the top rope. Off the top rope. Carlos, take half of that 40 million, put some green in lanterns. All right. That's what we need you to do. But yeah, and this is, again, I'm just going off what I'm hearing with Clayface. It's like they shouldn't have spent $40 million on this. If this is the film we're getting and the footage that they show that's mildly intriguing, you shouldn't have spent $40 million. You see, because you have other examples of films, right? Weapons, the biggest horror film of 2025, spent like $30 million. You're saying Clayface needs more money than Weapons? Now, Weapons delivered. Weapons came and knocked it out of the park, made $150 million. Are you saying Clayface gonna make $150 million? I don't think so. So Clayface costs more than Weapons, and you think it's gonna match that box office of Weapons? No, I think they're gonna end up losing a little money with Clayface, unfortunately, man. And this is just going off the data. That not cool. This man said, this man said, put some green and Green Lanterns, bro. The Guardian style of movie making has been overdone to, if this was coming out 14 to 18, then there would be more hype. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing is we don't need this carbon copy. Because, you know, people, again, they take it all personal, like, oh, so you saying Guardians is bad? Now, Joker cost around $50 million, the first one. We're going to talk about Folly I Do. I like it, but it's too polarizing. The first Joker only cost like $50 million. Are we saying Clayface can do? Clayface ain't doing numbers like that. So $40 million was too much. They should have kept this film to Clayface definitely under 30. Maybe even 20. Because based off the footage they showed, they said it's just going to be another movie. I'm going to be intrigued. See, that's the thing. I could be intrigued by this. The general audience may be like, what is that? Let me know if you like it. And word of mouth ain't the best thing to go by with horror. I feel sorry for Clay. I had high hopes for all this stuff, man. It's not looking good. It is not looking good. Man. Yeah, or a series, even a streaming film. They could have made it like a streaming presentation, like how Marvel's about to do Punisher. That's what, or like how they did Werewolf by Night. That's what DC should have did with Clayface. That would have helped HBO Max numbers. That's just these choices they made. Fine if you're going to do Superman gun. Everything else around it has been a misstep. It hasn't built out this world. And now, again, you got this Supergirl film. Again, that whole Guardians thing. Not a lot of people were impressed. In fact, most that saw the footage, they said, hey, you know, this footage ain't bad. But it just wasn't enough hype off of Supergirl, off this footage. It wasn't carrying over whatever that hype they was trying to make from Superman 2025. So that's why you have these headlines. This isn't just some, you know, biased people online. These are theater exhibitors, other execs, those who saw this footage. You got some glazers out there. You can see their channels if you want to overglaze. And just on top of that, what I'm hearing, this is all consistent. DC had among the worst showings at CinemaCon. And let's go even further with this. So, we're still on Supergirl. Let's go back to Supergirl. So, according to those that were there, they said, Millie Alcott came out. Again, I think she's a good actor. I think she's going to have a good career, whatever she does. She got a chance to headline a film. You jump at that chance. You make it the best you can with what you're given. People are going to walk away from this film saying, oh, she's great. I don't know what this world is around her, but she's great. So at this on this panel, they said it was a dry panel. Even Jason Momoa couldn't conjure up, because again, you didn't have a bunch of fanboys there. These were money people there. These were people there for business. So Momoa can't come out saying, "Oh, what you saying, my man," and all this stuff. That didn't impress these people there, right? They're like, Momoa, okay, like you better go make another Minecraft. Like, what is this, bro? I can't sell this. So it wasn't really hype there. Again, for the panelists, others that were there said the panel went on far too long. Again, this wasn't Comic-Con. They came there like this was a Comic-Con audience. And so they just DC specifically just misread the entire room. So it's just a shame. It's just a shame that no excitement is really carrying over from this. I mean, they're about to, this is coming out in 2 months? And this is the best we got? This is the pop that we got from this? Anti-pop? So again, that's why you have these headlines. DC has slipped. And I think the biggest telltale thing of all of this is they didn't mention Batman at all. You go out there, you mentioned Man of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Clayface. Now, this is all theatrical, so you weren't going to mention Lanterns, right? This is a theater event. So you're not mentioning streaming. Okay, well, Man of Tomorrow's about to start filming next month. So is Batman. You don't mention Batman? Well, is this telling us anything? I think the main thing this is telling me is, Peter Safran, co-CEO of DC. We understand they originally had 4-year contracts from end of 2022, October 2022 to October 2026. So their contract was due to run out this year. They got an extension. That's great. When you get to a contract year, and maybe a lot of people out there don't understand contracts, because every time I say this, they still feel confused. But when you get to a contract year, is the lawyers come to the table to negotiate, renegotiate. And they came up with a number, right? Like DeLuca and Abby, they renegotiated. They got a multi-year extension. Gunn and Safran's lawyers come to the table. They get a multi-month, 6-month extension to April 2027. My conclusion, that's when Peter Safran and Gunn's contract is up, April 2027. So if I'm Peter Safran, I'm going to come out there and hype the films that I'm directly attached to. Man of Tomorrow, about to start filming. Clayface, we got that coming. Supergirl's coming out in a couple months here. It's in the shoot, ready to go. Reeves Batman, I'm not even going to talk about that because I'm always going to be out of the building by the time Batman Part 2 comes out. I'm not going to be out there promoting that film because my contract's up April 2027. I mean, I think it's as clear as day that Gunn and Safran as studio execs, they're done next year. So yeah, so I think that's why we didn't hear anything about Batman. That's my conclusion. That's my conclusion with that. So that is what it is. Again, there was other highlights with CinemaCon members. We'll talk more about that. But as far as with DC, that didn't land too well. Can Paramount hold off on releasing Reeves till they get in the building? Well, Paramount, they're looking for this deal to close like this summer. So they're going to be in the building by the end of this year, if it provided it closes this summer. You put out Batman. Okay, that's the problem. The theater exhibitors, they were looking at DC Studios up there saying, where's Batman? David Ellison's not going to make that mistake. So if he's in the building, let's say by CinemaCon next April 2027, David Ellison, the first thing that's going to come out of his mouth is Batman. It's going to be like Batman's coming out. Yeah, we got Man tomorrow. We're going to, try to get a few dollars off of that. Batman. He's going to sell the heck out of that film, man. So again, why would Safran not hype up Batman at all? Because he's not going to be in the building for that. That's what I think. So yeah, no, he's definitely not going to hold off at all. He's going to drop that Batman because the not just us fans, the theater exhibitors were begging for Batman. Begging.
Begged. Like a dog.
It's oldie but goodie right there, right? They were begging for Batman. They're like, what is this, Man of Tomorrow? What is this Gunn and Safran or Gunn trilogy, Trinity? They're like, get this out of here. Where's Batman? Supergirl, get Supergirl out the way. Where's Batman? So that's a serious. DC is nowhere near where it should be when you're talking about summer blockbusters. This Supergirl film has no business really coming out this summer. This is a March film, maybe a fall film. This further adds to what we've been talking about all year. Because you know what were highlights of CinemaCon? Toy Story 5. The exhibitors are going crazy over Toy Story 5. They know that's going to bring families to theaters. That's going to crush this summer. Minions, that was a Universal panel. They said that was pretty good. Minions is going to have the proper hype for July 4th week opening. It's going to do $200 million the first opening weekend. If you count the Wednesday, you put Supergirl in the middle of that, this is malpractice. Somehow they're setting themselves up. They're in trouble, man. They're in trouble. And it's a shame. It shouldn't have to be this way for DC. I think Reeves must have heard something and just wanted to wait out Gunn and Safran to make his movie. He kept delaying it for a while. Very interesting, the timing of all this, that Reeves, he was writing his script, 2023. He's like, I'm still working on it. Oh, we got a writer's strike. I gotta fall back and wait. Finally, okay, now I got my script. Late last year. Oh, Gunn and Safran contract is up. Interesting timing, Reeves, right? Because now, if Gunn and Safran are out, Reeves comes out, does what he needs to do. He still wants to do some spinoffs, and he wants to complete his trilogy. Now he, in a sense, will have been able to wait out Gunn and Safran completely. They only tried to touch up Penguin a little bit, and he was like, "Hey, that's not really yours. That's Penguin's mine." And Gunn tried to tether on that, right? Gunn was like, "Hey, yo, we got Penguin." Reeves looked like, "Bro, you didn't do anything with Penguin at all." But they slapped that logo on there. And so I think the same thing here with Batman Part 2. Reeves, in a sense, waited them out. That's very interesting. Supergirl gonna do less, if not the same as Cap 4. Yeah, Cap 4. What was the box office for With that Brave New World. Let's see what we get. Like 3, 4. All right, Supergirl's not making 400 million. And see, that's crazy when you put that in context. It should be a shoe-in Supergirl to get 400 million. With it coming with the lack of hype that is seen, Brave New World got 200 domestically. I don't think Supergirl's going to get 200 million domestically. And it got over, again, 200 internationally. That's I'm not going to guess internationally anything anymore. Now, I don't think it's going to get Brave New World numbers. Not at all. Yeah, Cuban comic fan in the house. Oh, Cuban comic. I've been meaning to reach out to you because I had I had a business number, and that's how I was contacting you. So you probably need my new number, but hit me up on Twitter or something, all right? Because if you reach out to the old number, that's not my number. Just to let you know, there's a local Seal Nation right there. But I gotta hit up with you, man. Yeah, I don't see it doing 400 million. IG, okay, I got you, bro. IG. All right, good stuff. That's where we're at with DC, right? And I guess this is a good chance to kind of pause here. Like, if there's any other input, comments, or questions about DC, because we're going to kind of shift to happier topics in a minute here. But again, just based off all that, and again, just what I'm hearing as well, is just, I said this in December. I came out very publicly. Every time I get box office numbers, like James Gunn's Superman, I came out and said 500 was their goal. Really was 550. But if they got anything over that, they would throw a parade. They got 619. You saw the parades. I'm saying with Supergirl, I say the number right now is 375. But I don't think it's going to get 375. What do I think it's going to get? Yeah, less than 300 million. I say less than 300 million. I think that's where Supergirl is at. Again, the slate of films is just crazy. Toy Story 5 is going to do crazy. That's where I'm at, man. I say under 300 million. You know, like I said, 375 is the number, so we'll see how close it will get to that. But I think it's a good chance it's under 300. And this is a film I'm actually looking forward to seeing, y'all. But I can't ignore the data. I can't ignore what people are saying about it. Yeah, like in the chat, they can't say we're forcing a narrative. Like, they think Snyder fans just want everything to fail. Now, again, you know, all Snyder fans don't think alike. Like, you got some that's, you know, there are some idiot Snyder fans out there that just wants to just say nonsensical stuff. And some of them probably want a Netflix. I don't know. But you have Snyder fans that we just want quality. We've seen epic DC before. You know, if you're giving us made for TV stuff, you know, you're going to have that pushback. Like with Supergirl, me looking forward to it, but just seeing the reactions and the projections and the forecasts, this is what it's saying, man. That's where we're at. Could it do worse than Miss Marvel? I mean, the Marvels? Let's see, the Marvels box office. What was that again? That was about 2 or 3, right? 200. This is actually a great comparison. I think this is what Supergirl is going to do. It's going to match what the Marvels did in 2023. The Marvels got 200 million. I think this is exactly what Supergirl is going to do. To the ones that wanted to fail, can you blame them? Shout out to Escobar on Twitter. They had to hear backlash for the last 13 years. Exactly, Mandy. We just want epic DC. And again, I think I've been hearing about some interesting sequences in Supergirl that I may end up enjoying. But just the masses, the general audience, I don't think they're going to really take to this film. And like what Carlos just said in the chat, 200 million. I'm going to say Supergirl, it'll get less than 100 million domestically, likely. You're talking about an opening weekend. I think it'll be less than 40 million as opening weekend. So that's going to be the first gauge for Supergirl. Over, under 40 million opening weekend. If it gets under $40 million opening weekend, you're talking about a film that's definitely going to be under 200 million. If it gets over 40, then maybe the word of mouth can help it get even more. So that's my comparison. I'm going to have it side by side. When Supergirl comes out, I'm going to bring it up side by side, compare what the Marvels did and what Supergirl is going to do, because I think that's the perfect example. All right, keep those DC comments coming. Since we're on the DC, before we shift gears, any comments or questions on DC, we're going to entertain them now. Escobar says, off topic, but since they are making a static movie, who is your dream director? Interesting. Static. This is a project. I don't know if people saw the Phantom series is getting a rebooted series for the Phantom. That's that old hero out there is going to get a new TV series or streaming series. And you got Reggie Hudlin attached to it. Reggie Hudlin, who is co-CEO of Milestone Comics, and that's who created the Static character, Static, Icon. Interesting ideas that will come from that. Now, this Static project was a project that they were talking about 2022. I think I want to say 2021, 22. You had Reggie Hudlin attached to this. You had now Hudlin, he did like Black Panther comics. He did Black Panther. He attempted to animate a Black Panther as well. Hudlin was the one that put Black Panther with Storm. People accept that as lore now because of Reggie Hudlin. This Static project was being pitched when DC, they was trying to just do more diverse stuff and really get away from SnyderVerse. That's really what they was trying to do. And you have Michael B. Jordan and his Outlier production company attached with this Static project as well. So this isn't a James Gunn project. I just want to reiterate that. People was running with that on Twitter. This is a separate from DCU type thing. But to answer your question, Escobar, a long-winded way of saying, if Michael B. Jordan is still attached to this Static project, I think Michael B. Jordan wants to direct it. I think he wants to direct it. So the fact that that's still an open development project after all these years, this is another project where just after this merger is complete, you just slide this on in here. And if Michael B. Jordan and his team is still attached to it, let him direct it. So I will go with Michael B. Jordan on that. Oh. Oh. I think one thing I'm seeing out there, people say a man of no tomorrow. That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. Let's see. Smash the like. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to shift gears here. If Static holds out until Paramount lands, then MBJ could likely appeal to get Static out there. Team. Okay. Man of Yesterday's funny. Yeah, because it was an article that came out with saying, hey, Static is still in development. Gunn already kind of came out. Gunn's wasn't going to do anyone else's projects, right? He just kind of handpicked a few. Supergirl here, Clayface here, and then he wants to get a Superman saga as far as he can get it. So I knew he wasn't going to do Milestone. So with that project still floating around, it's like, yeah, this can make it to that Paramount merge. And the fact that Paramount has already been recruiting DC creators before they bid it on Warner Brothers. Paramount was talking to people saying, hey, when we get Warner Brothers, you know what I'm saying? You want to do some DC? This is what Paramount's been doing. So this is right up their alley, doing a Static project. And if Michael B. Jordan's attached to it in any kind of way, no reason why this wouldn't happen. And now with Michael B. Jordan, I mean, he has the hot name right now. So it's like, you want his name attached to several projects in the near future. That'd be perfect. And he's a huge comic fan as well, too. Let's see. All right. Let me say, gives us some happier news. Yeah, Wonder Twins, though, this isn't the same as the Static. I saw that connection out there. That has nothing to do. Again, the fact no one's talking about Wonder Twins now, right? The fact that Static is still being talked about now is showing that project can still happen. Wonder Twins, no one's even talking about that now, except you. You're the only one talking about Wonder Twins right now. Static, everyone's still talking about Static. So yeah. Yeah, don't put Hamada and Reggie Hudlin in the same sentence. Don't even do that. Let's get to highlights, because we talk about the lowlights. Let's get to the highlights. Highlander. Yeah, talking about Hamada. I'm saying that y'all keeping Hamada alive out there. Keep talking about the man. It's like no, nothing with Hamada's happening right now. What about Jeff Johns? Y'all keep this stuff alive. A highlight of CINEMACON was during the Amazon MGM panel. Now, again, members, we're going to do a full breakdown of these panels this weekend. So looking forward to talking to y'all more about that. The Amazon MGM panel opened up actually with Michael B. Jordan. He had his Thomas Crown Affair film he directed. He's basically like he's like a spy or James Bond type dude. That opened up the panel. Then also a part of MGM, they celebrated the Project Hail Mary. You know, that's going to stay in theaters like up to like 60 days now, and it's going to be back in IMAX. Like all good things with Amazon MGM. You got the Voltron. They didn't talk about it yet because it's not ready probably this year. But they got the Voltron film they're making, He-Man, Masters of the Universe. So we're gonna have a lot to talk about when we talk about Amazon MGM. But the main thing that the crowd here probably wants to discuss, all the other stuff is cute and all, but Henry Cavill Highlander, first footage unveiled, and this had an instant reaction. See, this is the thing. People act like this is all manufactured. It's like when the hype is there, it's there. Okay. Yeah, Supergirl with this footage, it was like, okay. When the Highlander footage hit, the internet, you felt that ripple effect on social media, and the theater exhibitors were loving it as well, too. First look, filming is still underway on this Highlander film. This is a Chad Stahelski film. He's the John Wick director guy. He's bringing John Wick to swordplay. Henry Cavill playing the immortal character in Highlander, right? So this footage, I think we got some descriptions as far as what happened in this footage. Everyone instantly said they see the John Wick style. Like, do y'all understand what we about to see action-wise? You're saying Henry Cavill, John Wick style. Like, Witcher is one thing. His swordplay is pristine in Witcher. Henry Cavill could get down. Now you're showing them some John Wick moves. I don't think the world's ready for this, man. I don't think they're ready for this. But that was the instant thing that people said when they saw this footage. And that's thanks to the director as well. And obviously, again, Henry Cavill and his performance. Let's see. Do I have a description of what they saw? I said the first look was loud, stylish, and big. Okay. Elaborate costumes, dramatic fight scenes. They said that Henry Cavill introduced the video from set in character. So you had you had Henry Cavill playing his character, introducing the footage people was about to see, and they said it was just crazy action. Again, John Wick style. Henry Cavill's doing big things again with Amazon, Highlander, Voltron. You got the Warhammer stuff that he wants to do as well. And they just showing that they're selling the action on this film. Original Highlander was so trash, but I'm keen. Well, maybe this will be for you. If the first one was trash to you. I thought I had more descriptions about what happened. I guess it's just straight up action. That's all they showed. They're just like, okay, this is what you're here for. Chopping some heads off and stuff. So I'm very ready for this Highlander. This was a very smart move by Henry Cavill, staying in action roles. And I think he's going to have a chance to have a franchise, multiple films. And you got Dave Bautista there as well, too. Highlander's a classic. It's up to Candor Zone. Yeah, Cavill looks great. Yeah, we'll see. Do we have a release date for this? Let me see. Highlander release. Oh, hold up. All right, the new Highlander. We don't have a date yet? They just said likely 2027. Okay, that's all good. I'm gonna go back and watch the original just to kind of get into the flair of everything that's happened with this film, as far as what's coming up with this reboot. So we'll check that out. Highlander, John Wick style. Yeah, that's all I needed to hear. Now, the last thing we'll talk about with the Avengers or the CINEMACON thing is the Avengers drop, right? And the thing here with CINEMACON, as I talked about several times, the contrast with DC. You know, DC had a chance to come out and really wow, or steal away some customers, or just get some attention while Marvel was reeling. But among some of the top things that people said about CINEMACON, was the Disney panel, Avengers, was a showstopper. overall. Social media went crazy. But even before that, they said they had a decent reaction to Mando Grogu. We're talking about Disney overall. Mando Grogu. They got to the Avengers drop and they played the trailer and then played it a second time because there was so much hype in the crowd. That's how you know you have the audience, the theater. Again, these weren't a crowd of fans. These were theater exhibitors, theater owners worldwide. And they were there like, you know, like a Comic-Con fan base for Avengers. Everything else was like, meh. Avengers went hard. Yeah, smash the like. Make sure you subscribe. How many likes we got? Hold on. Smash the like. Let me check my likes. Got a lot of passive viewers. We gotta be active and interact. Appreciate the comments in the chat. We need the likes to be smashed. Much appreciated. Like you put that belt. Let's see. Did we got some? Oh yeah, I got a few details from the Avengers trailer. Now, as I mentioned, separate platform, Patreon. I got more of the story of Avengers Doomsday dropping this weekend on Patreon. Link in the description, patreon.com/sylabdul. Talk a lot about that over there. And also we got some rumor roulette type of stuff that I may have to debunk some stuff, but then we got some real stuff as well. So stay tuned. Patreons for that. Now, Avengers is all about Doom. All about Doom. Some highlights from the trailer. Do I have it up here? Let's see. Here we go. The trailer, the Avengers trailer, you got Professor Xavier at the X Mansion, and if it seems like he's awaiting some kind of incursion to come. So will they murk Professor Patrick Stewart again? I don't know. It seems like they just bring him back to murk him. But it's some kind of incursion that's going to attack the Fox X-Men world. And so they kind of allude to that in the trailer. You got a look at the new Avengers Tower. So you got, if you saw Thunderbolts, it's a new Avengers. And they, I guess, are teaming up with Sam Wilson's Avengers and the Fantastic Four. And then they reach out to Wakanda. So you're seeing flashes of this all in the trailer, right? Let's see. Then it said there's a showdown between Gambit and Shang-Chi, where, Gambit, again, got the staff going, and Shang-Chi's, blocking it with the rings. So that's pretty cool. It'd be a cool visual to see. I hope Gambit wins. And then you have Yelena going against Mystique. And that's one thing a lot of people said, as far as in that saw the footage. They was like, okay, Mystique changes into Yelena, so it's Yelena versus Yelena. But what you're seeing right there is X-Men versus Avengers. Like, that's what you're getting in this film. It's going to be a showdown between X-Men and Avengers. And that's what we've been hearing early about this film. And a lot of comic fans, maybe not the general audience, maybe they didn't even know it was a crossover in the comics, but I wanted to see some X-Men versus Avengers action. So very exciting. Very exciting to see that that's in the trailer. What else we got here? Oh, and the money shot was a couple money shots in this trailer. You got Thor with Stormbreaker trying to attack Doom, and Doom blocks Stormbreaker. Remember, Stormbreaker chopped through Thanos in Infinity War, right? Thor's coming with Stormbreaker, and Doom blocks it with 2 fingers. So Doom is shown to be just super powerful, like he should be. And some people say, like if you're gonna do Ultimate Doom, like, why are we doing this RDJ gimmick thing? I say let's wait till the execution. Let's see the story reason before I judge, who's playing Doom. But the power of Doom is obviously in this film and will be, and in Secret Wars. Obviously, he's going to be ruling the world if they go by the comics. And then finally, you have a callback where Mjolnir, the hammer, flies to Steve Rogers again. And he's basically like in a nomad. He's kind of like nomad version of Steve Rogers again. And he gets the hammer again. So again, we'll see the story reason for that, but it knocked the socks off the crowd. They had to play the trailer again. So they played it back to back. The theater exhibitors went crazy because they know this film's going to make $2 billion. The star power, just the cool factor. Then, the comic fans, everyone's going to love this Avengers film, and they're going to sell the heck out of it, man. They're going to sell the heck out of it. And this shows how far away DC is. Yeah, this shows how far DC is that Avengers, Marvel after Endgame, people could say it had their down years with phase 4 and 5, I think was. Feige is basically ignoring phases 4 and 5. Anything after Endgame, he says Doomsday picks up right after Endgame. So you didn't have to watch nothing since Endgame. it's going to pick up right after that. Amazing. So it's going to be huge. But with those down years of Marvel, because those were down years, we talk about Marvel's only making $200 million. That's what Supergirl's probably going to do. You didn't get a chance. You didn't gain any ground. And it's not about, you got to beat Marvel. Just be competitive. Get your quality up there. So when Marvel is doing good, people will say, let me watch another CBM of quality. But DC doesn't have that. Again, they were deemed the worst of all panels there. It wasn't just, here's a few things I don't like, and maybe, it wasn't just as good as the others. No, they're saying they separated DC from everything and said DC was the worst thing. Even within the WB panels, the WB panel opened up with the new Tom Cruise film, Digger. And it said Tom Cruise, I'll talk more about that with members. Tom Cruise kind of has some prosthetics on, and he's kind of really going for some quirky things in this film. But it was a nice opening for WB. They had a couple other cool things, and they threw DC in the middle of the pack. So they were kind of burying DC in the WB panel. Meanwhile, Marvel was a headline. They went last to close the show out. DC in the middle, sandwiched in. WB's showstopper was Dune 3. They showed exclusive 7 minutes of Dune. People going crazy over Dune. So you see the difference here? Dune was the headline. Avengers headline. They're coming out the same day. Doomsday, as they call it. Doomsday. DC, you get all this talk, people saying, DC is back. DC is back. It's obviously not back. They were hiding it at CINEMACON. And people were mildly intrigued by Clayface, and that's about it. Supergirl, indifference. Okay. It looks like Guardians. But Dune 3? See, that's where the hype was at for Warner Brothers. We talk about Disney. Yeah, a little cute stuff at first. The Avengers, showstopper. DC is a long way away. Everyone is saying Gunn save DC. DC is back. It's not back. Not with the theaters. maybe on your social media timeline in your bubble. The rest of the world does not agree with that sentiment. Even WB doesn't agree with your sentiment because they sandwich DC Studios in the middle. There's no reason for DC Studios to be separate because it's not expanding this world. It's not doing anything to excite theater exhibitors. That's where you make your money. People don't understand that sometimes, but get out of your bubble. Even if you like this James Gunn DCU world, is not popping amongst heavyweight competition at CINEMACON. That's just where it's at, man. I wonder if some fans will spin this DC slip as having something to do with Paramount. Right. So only DC was affected, right? Like all of Warner Brothers, because Doom was popping. Like I mentioned that Tom Cruise film. They had some other like auteur driven things. DeLuca and Abby are still cooking. They think 2027 is going to be pretty hot for them, overall. So all of WB slate was good except DC. And who's DC under? Who can we blame? Right? You can't blame David Ellison. You can't blame him for this one. You can't blame Snyder. I blame Gunn fans because y'all overhyped the cultural reference of Superman 2025. That's what I blame. Hey, take the profit. Say, hey, this is a good start. Maybe Man of Tomorrow could be even better. And that's how they should have approached this instead of doing this this slate. Where does James Gunn movies at? We have Maria in the chat. Maybe she could tell. Where are these movies at? This was their first mistake. He wasn't ready to do a full slate of DC. You see how quickly some of these titles went away? The Authority, Waller, Booster Gold, they just swept all this under the rug, right? Brave and the Bold will kick the can down the road. Maybe one day we'll do Brave and the Bold. James Mangold doesn't even say swamp or thing anymore. He don't even use his words anymore because he knows he's not doing that film. This was a mistake from the beginning. If you want to just trot your little Superman film out there, do that. See how it does. And then fall back this year, make your Man of Tomorrow, and just see what you do 2027. This was a mistake doing the Supergirl film. This is a mistake, in my opinion. Now, will I be entertained? I admit maybe. But any momentum you thought you got in 2025, it has not carried over. Snyder killed the brand. Blame Snyder. That is what it is, man. Meanwhile, Avengers, Feige took off what? How many years they took off? About 4 years? Because don't even count phase 4 and 5. So when did Endgame come out? 2019. They basically took 6 years off. Endgame came out 2019. Kevin Feige said Doomsday picks up right after Endgame. That's how long DC had. Since 2019, the Snyder Cut has come out. Then they tried to push Zach out and do these other SnyderVerse things. The Rock, Black Adam tried to usurp the power. The GA rejected Black Adam, the general audience. And that way they rejected Cavill as well. He got a chance to do a full reboot with James Gunn, Superman. And it did terrible internationally. It just did. And any goodwill you had is not carried over to the rest of the DC brand. This is the state of DC, man. Like, this is where it's at. Now you got David Ellison coming in here wanting the biggest blockbuster type approaches to this brand of DC. So change is definitely coming. Yeah, Superman cameo and Supergirl. Yeah. It's not carrying over, man. And now Disney's back in a bag. Now they got a chance with Doomsday. That hype of Doomsday is going to. Well, you got Spider-Man. You got Spider-Man coming out. And then you got the Doomsday. Then you got Secret Wars. Then you come with the new X-Men. Because one thing with is no guarantee there'll be a Fantastic Four sequel. They said they made a little money off of it, but it wasn't enough. Fantastic Four. I mean, Fantastic Four did less than Superman. So what they'll do is, they'll fold Fantastic Four into other projects. They may not want to just say and I thought Fantastic Four was a good film. I really enjoyed it. But you gotta be smart with this business. So what you do, you put Fantastic Four like in team ups. You put those characters in team ups situations. So if there is a Fantastic Four Part 2, it's gonna be like a huge team. They may not even call it Fantastic Four. I don't know, but you're gonna have something big to kind of draw the audience. Some kind of combination. Like you can do a Doom story with Fantastic Four with RDJ, then that will make big money, right? Something like that. But anyway, Marvel is back in their bag and DC is still scrambling as far as what to do next. So let's get to what we talk about mostly on these Saturday shows is the Paramount WB deal. Because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Plenty. And at times we gotta pull up what people are saying as teaching opportunities. This is an example of this anti-Paramount sentiment where people, they are counting on readers and people in this space to be ignorant to known facts of the situation. You had a lot of people who were anti-Paramount. Now, again, is this making this platform, we're pro-Paramount, I'm gonna have Paramount gear on and stuff like that? No, I just always thought this was the best option. Obviously, the connection with the Saudis, obviously, I made no mistake about that. It was just a few months ago. I was pulling for Paramount because of the obvious connection to the Saudis, who's connected with Zack Snyder. Now, another option people said was Netflix, and Netflix, they've been shady with Zack Snyder since Scott Stuber left. That's why Zack Snyder has to take his film, The Last Photograph, to other avenues because Netflix didn't want it. I don't know how this gets lost in all of this. Like, if they were in the Zack Snyder business, I will rock with it. You got these Netflix people and their feelings. They get their feelings hurt because they got behind a cause that ultimately failed. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me because your attempt at a coup failed. Now you got some Netflix people, they fighting with each other and stuff. Y'all deserve all that. Y'all deserve all that. All that disarray. Yeah. I'm sitting back laughing. Because when I told all of y'all 2 years ago, I want to put all your eggs behind one basket. But y'all thought y'all was going to be ahead of the fandom or something. And now y'all infighting and stuff. I love it. Y'all deserve it. All of y'all. Anyway, why I picked Paramount? It says the rap right here. Studio culture reliant. And see, this is, we're gonna break this down. Reliant on Saudi-backed capital, including $24 billion from Middle East sovereign wealth funds for Paramount's WB deal, be willing to fund films about ex-revolutionaries or Black Southern history and spirituality? Let's go back. So now this ain't the same lie, because that's the problem. People want to repeat lies and it just catches on. So are people saying Paramount couldn't afford to buy Warner Bros. Discovery? David Ellison, his father, Larry Ellison, is worth nearly $200 billion. Just in theory, he could have just paid this $111 billion by himself. Now, one rule of being rich is that you don't use your own money, right? So you get partners, you get people to buy into it. So you have Legendary Films. They have a piece of Warner Brothers now. Yeah, Legendary. There's the Dune people, Godzilla. They're doing the Street Fighter. Yeah. They're releasing Street Fighter together, Paramount and Legendary. Well, it's a financer behind Legendary. So just to be clear when I say that. So you got them to buy in. You got other investment. Red Capital is a popular name. So you pull all your resources together, and then of that 111 billion, 24 billions come from the sovereign nations. So saying something is reliant on that, they bought into the sovereign nations bought into this deal. This isn't a loan. I see some silly person online was like, "Oh, they borrowed 24 billion." Do you know how deals work? They didn't borrow the 24 billion. The Saudis are a part of the deal. They didn't loan the money. They are minority stake owners of WB upon completion of this deal. So it just shows that, again, I know a lot of y'all had your heart set on Netflix, and you think that Paramount is some anti, or that Trump's going to own Paramount or something silly like that. And the great thing is that David Ellison came out and really attacked all this head on in very subtle ways. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. But just the notion that somehow this is some kind of loan from the Saudis is very disingenuous or ignorant. Maybe you're just ignorant to the facts. Or maybe you're just disingenuous. There's really only two options here. I know everyone loves to do this whole political thing, and it's really not about all that, y'all. What literally it is they're making it political. To what end? Like this petition thing. Let's throw this up here. This goofy petition. I think someone mentioned it in the chat earlier. You got all these actors signing this petition. And what's the purpose? No one talks about the purpose of the petition. The purpose of the petition is that, in theory, if one film studio goes down or is absorbed by another, then there will probably be less opportunities for everyone. Less films, they think. they used the example when Disney bought Fox, and then the volume of Fox went down. David Ellison got ahead of this from the beginning, saying between the two studios, they're going to do 30 films minimum, meaning they probably want to do more than 30 films, actually, maybe 35, 40. That's more opportunities. David Ellison said that he wants to actually retain jobs in California. That's one state and also they have some political angle in that too, but that's one state that was worried about they're going to lose jobs. David Ellison already said, hey, this is the goal. Now you got people saying, well, is it possible to do 30 films with one studio? It's probably not possible for one studio to do 30 films, idiot. What about two studios? Paramount and Warner Brothers together. These are simple things. See, people want to selectively act stupid because they think they got some gotcha. It's two studios, y'all. DeLuca and Abby just said at CINEMACON they're going to do almost 20 films by themselves next year. David Ellison said we're going to do at least 15 films next year. So you're already at 35 films. The whole point we bring this up because people are being disingenuous about their arguments. If there was a real argument, I'll be right there with you. The homie Jules, we're on the same wavelength with that because we're not here just to have our pom-poms up for Paramount, just so we get some butter biscuits from Paramount Pictures. David Ellison give us some. That's not why we're doing this. We're doing this because this was the best chance to restore the SnyderVerse. So when I see Snyder fans getting caught up because their hashtags failed, then I gotta look at you funny. Because it was all good, you're doing these victory streams when you thought Netflix won, patting each other on the back, did nothing. You did absolutely nothing. because Netflix was buying Warner Brothers overall. They didn't promise you SnyderVerse. I've never seen a stream people were celebratory and they did nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's really the wildest thing.
So you get nothing.
They did. How do you celebrate something you did nothing? Someone explain this to me. You won nothing. You did nothing. But anyway, it's these moments I go into that. But I'm still lost at that whole saga, bro. They thought like they were in the room when Ted Sarandos signed off. They're like, oh, see, Ted signed for us. I saw them, bro, all these couple of years, like, because they mad now. Some of them mad now, like they don't want to talk to me and stuff. But y'all was celebrating. Y'all was like, oh, Netflix got it. Let's do a stream. We did it.
Hold up, stop, wait, reverse the tape.
Now that's over. Now it's all over, right? Now don't be mad now. Let's talk about what's really going on. When we thought Netflix was going to get this, I said, well, man, I wanted Paramount to win, but I'm going to talk about what's really going on. So we're going to break down what can we expect. My side lost, right? I thought Paramount lost. I was like, well, hey, if Netflix get it, I still don't know how they're going to restore the SnyderVerse because they're kind of cheap. But okay. Now we're on to this. Don't make up stuff because there'll just be more. Actually, keep making up stuff because we want more learning examples. But what I want to talk about here is this petition thing. You got all these people in Hollywood. Again, there's some weird political slant to it as well. They got this list of all people signing their names, 2,000 names in Hollywood. The first thing I said, because again, I've been following this stuff for years now. I said, it would be interesting think of it like this. When it looked like Netflix was going to win the bid, the Directors Guild came out and said, hey, we may not be behind this Netflix stuff. The entire guild of directors led by the one and only Christopher Nolan. James Cameron was very vocal as well. This is when we thought Netflix was going to win it. Right? Now it's flipped over. Now you got Paramount. Are any guilds coming out against Paramount? The Directors Guild is chill. It's like, okay, because it's about the theaters. That's what the directors are, but that's how they get their back. It's all about money, y'all. That's how they get their backdoor deals. Okay, Ellison, you promising 30 films a year? Okay, we're gonna hold you to that. That's what the directors are saying. Now, of the other guilds, you got the Actors Guild, Screen Actors Guild, that's a SAG, and then you have the Writers Guild, WAG, and then you got Directors DGA. For Netflix, the DGA was worried. For Paramount, they're chill. Writers Guild, chill. Actors Guild is actually chill. This is an independent petition that's being put out there. These guilds are not openly coming out against Paramount. These are independent actors just putting some petition together. And what is their complaint for this petition? It's not just simply to block the deal because they think Trump's going to take over Paramount. They're so lazy. They want to hold Ellison to doing 30 films a year. That's the purpose of the petition. With that being said, according to others in the industry, it's BS. And we got Jerry Bruckheimer right here. He's weighed. That's famous producer, right? Bruckheimer. He weighed in on the potential Paramount Pictures merger, saying the train has left the station, meaning is nothing you're going to do to stop it. The Paramount deal. Oppenheimer's producer, Emma Thomas, this is Christopher Nolan's wife, downplayed the impacts of the petitions, including one backed by Denny V and thousands of others, noting they rarely move the needle. No one's taking this petition seriously except a couple goofies on Twitter. That's the conclusion. That's the conclusion. So anyone jumping behind this and saying this is all performative, I'm sure the agents, some of the agents of these actors, they say, "Oh, it would be good PR if you put your name, just in case." That's all it is, y'all. In the meantime, there were several actors and producers and writers, directors in support of Paramount at the CINEMACON and other events. So let me jump back to this real quick because I didn't touch on this enough. Because the Saudis thing, we talk about global business. Global business is already here. As I said on social media, it's just like AI. Global business is here. AI is already here. You need to educate yourself on what it's really doing. AI is actually not trying to take actors and writers and directors' jobs. It's going to take some VFX jobs, yes. But these VFX people, y'all should probably learn how to use AI for your craft. It speeds up productions. Why is Ellison so confident in doing 30 films a year now? Because he's going to use AI in post-production. It's going to speed up productions. I think they said more than 50% post. So in theory, you're going to have a film that's shooting this fall. It's going to be ready to go by the end of this year. In theory. So you could crank out a bunch of films, like I said, every year. That's what AI is for. And as far as with global business, I say this every week. I don't mind repeating this, but the Saudis are already in American business. They already own Electronic Arts. That's an American-based video game company. They already own it. And they just wanted a piece of Hollywood. And that's going to help them fund really just to give them notoriety because they got the money to fund their own stuff. So this is a flex. It's not a loan. But the thing with the rap here, which I find very disingenuous, saying, oh, if Paramount gets Warner Brothers, will they be able to fund revolutionary films and Black Southern history and spirituality? What are they talking about right there? 2 films that WB just did, the Oscar-winning films, one battle after another. That's the ex-revolutionaries. Black Southern history and spirituality. You're talking about Sinners. Oh, will they ever do a Sinners film again? As you know, David Ellison, his daddy knows Trump. Again, this is why we need to call out this disingenuous people. David Ellison has been running Skydance Pictures for nearly 15 years. He's been producing, meaning putting in money on several projects. Was every project David Ellison funded, was it all just white males? Because if it was, then I'll be like, oh, maybe he is MAGA. But now we know he funded, Skydance was a part of Top Gun Maverick, the Mission Impossible films as well. So I think Ellison has pretty good taste. You back Top Gun Maverick. I think you got good taste, right? But most of the Mission Impossible films, World War Z, which I think they're making another one. I think he announced that. We're going to talk. He has some comments. We're going to talk about David Ellison. And look here, David Ellison, Skydance, chose to co-produce and finance Terminator Genesis. That's the most quote-unquote woke Terminator film ever. David Ellison funded that film? But I thought he was MAGA. You can't do diverse stuff. Terminator Genesis came out in 2017 during Trump's first term. But he was MAGA. So David Ellison's MAGA, but he was making quote unquote woke stuff at the same time. Or maybe that's not. Oh yeah, it's Dark Fate. Yeah, Dark Fate was the most woke one. or maybe David Ellison just makes movies. And then it's come out that David Ellison, this last election, was actually funding the other candidate that was opposing Trump. So all of a sudden, he gets Warner Brothers. Now all of a sudden, Cougar, he can't do another Sinners film now? No basis. This is like defamation of character. Like David Ellison, he probably should sue, allegedly, some of these trades. Because he can't do no more Cougar films now because of why? Because his daddy is cool with Trump? Like, come on. David Ellison is his own man. That's my point. And he's done a diverse range of films. And he's only going to continue. It's about making money. That's what this is all about. Leave the silly stuff, the silly arguments that y'all have. And the CNN, oh my goodness. I'm not even going to say it again. I don't care about CNN, okay? I mean, maybe I am going to say it again. Stop the rage bait. Let's see what this man actually is going to do. Am I crowning him already? No, he has to come out and actually do 30 films a year. And then also, too, he needs to follow what the Saudis, if the Saudis want to do the SnyderVerse, go ahead and let him. He may want to beat him to the punch. We shall see. Among the other things that David Ellison was talking to CINEMACON about, there's a funny thing because he popped up on a Thursday, I believe. He made a surprise appearance a day after he was supposed to go to a Democratic-led hearing in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. He said, well, he had a death in the family. I can't make it. And I guess, hey, I mean, I'm not going to judge. If someone says they have a family funeral, I wouldn't judge people like that. Like, hey, some people don't respect that process. But But the next day he was back out. He went to CINEMACON. He went to Vegas. He said, I ain't trying to go see Cory Booker in DC. I'm going to be in Vegas, talk about these films. So what was he talking about? This is a quote that David Ellison said. So I want to look every single one of you in the eye and promise once we combine with Warner Brothers, we're going to make a minimum of 30 movies a year. Because this whole petition, it's going to be less films under Ellison. He's saying, I'm trying to do, again, maximize. Theater exhibitors, I'm giving y'all 30 films a year. See, this was very well played by David Ellison. This wasn't a Comic-Con event. This was a business event. And he says, oh, you hear all this noise from California? They're saying we're going to lose jobs, and got this petition of 2,000 Hollywood actors saying it's going to be less business. I'm looking y'all in the eye saying we're doing 30 films. I'm giving y'all 30 films a year to sell. That's what's going on. And then he says every film will be released in theaters with a minimum 45-day window, and it'll be available on digital in 90 days. So he's restoring theatrical windows because we all know what leaked out when Netflix was like they were going to win this. Some films are only going to get 17 days, 3 weekends in theaters. Co of Netflix, Ted Sarandos said, hey, we're going to look at things like, with Superman when it kind of had a 3rd week dip and we went and got it out of there under a month. That's not going to happen under David Ellison and Paramount. So when people want to continue to say this is their problem with Paramount, and they're running out of excuses. Like, we need some fresh excuses from y'all. And if there's some, legit concerns, I would love to discuss them. I would love to talk about them more, for sure. What else did he say? Again, the Paramount panel opened up with like a highlight reel of the past and looking forward to the future of Paramount. It was narrated by Tom Cruise, one and only Tom Cruise, and it showed a bunch of other Hollywood actors and directors. Anyone that didn't sign a petition, they were in this Paramount video supporting them. As David Ellison said, long live the movies. He's into the theatrical business, and like I say, he's full on in. Now, a couple of cool announcements from him was the Call of Duty film. They said that's coming out in 2028, so that should be cool. They're looking for that to be a franchise. Multiple things happening with Call of Duty. Top Gun 3, obviously. They officially said that that's what they're going to do in the future. They got the script going with Top Gun 3. As we also say, his action plan for big franchises, Transformers, G.I. Joe, TMNT. And once he gets DC, he's going to talk more about DC when he gets DC. But believe that. Believe that with Paramount. And so it's all looking on the up and up. Again, that petition, I'm really not taking too seriously. And the Saudis and their activity, at first, the deal was 21 billion from the sovereign nations as Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Saudis. The final numbers is they put in collectively 24 billion, because at first we thought it'd be 7 billion apiece or even 8 billion apiece. Final numbers, it comes out that the Saudis put in 10 billion and the other two nations put in 7 billion apiece. The Saudis put in the bigger portion, and obviously the obvious connection with Snyder we need to discuss now as this kind of grows every week. This is going to be the portion every week when we're talking about Restore, and we're looking into the potential of the Snyder. A new picture of Zack Snyder and Turkey Al-Sheikh. Now, Zack Snyder, I don't know how else to spell this out to people, like, but it's gonna make it fun every week because we gotta, explain this again. But we've talked about this partnership potential early 2025 when they announced the Brawler film and the partnership between Stone Quarry and Turkey Al-Sheikh. It was like, yo, that's when I started hearing that, Saudis, they want a piece of Warner Brothers when they're up for sale. I put that out there, like I said, over a year ago. You just kind of just sit back and watch what happens, right? And then the bidding opened up for Warner Brothers, and I was looking, okay, who's the Saudis? They weren't going to let the Saudis buy it outright. They could have come up with 111 billion easily, but we knew the regulators was not going to allow a foreign entity to own Warner Brothers Studios, right? So we knew they had to jump with someone. Now, my first choice, I was wanting Universal. Of the companies that got close to actually getting this, I wanted Amazon overall to get it. But you see, Amazon, they just bought MGM a couple of years ago. They're just starting to kind of get that going. So they couldn't really take on Warner Brothers right now. If Warner Brothers would have waited till like next year to sell, Amazon would have been in play. That would have been perfect to me. But of the big three, it was Paramount, Universal, Netflix. I was like, who is the Saudis going to partner with? Head of Comcast, Universal, Brian Roberts, he went out to the Saudis to talk some business about amusement parks, Universal Studios and stuff like that. And I was like, if they can get the Saudis on the bid, I would want Universal to get this. And then I found out, like, that day I tweeted out, like, this is like, people love taking screenshots of stuff. Like, this is all like public on my timeline. I was like, yeah, I'm hearing the Saudis are going to jump in with Paramount. I wanted it to be Universal, but they're jumping in with Paramount. And again, when we talk about the Saudis, we're talking about Turkey Al-Sheikh. He's the head of the entertainment division of the Saudis PIF team. He does all the entertainment, the WWE events, and then also the film events. He does films with a Brawler as well too. He gets his funding from the PIF. This is what it's like, people just want to be confused about this stuff. But he gets money from the PIF team to do these types of films or to do the type of events, WWE. And that's what we think the potential for SnyderVerse. If the Saudis want to do a film, they're going to look to their entertainment guy. And what is he going to choose to do? So you got Zack Snyder with another picture of this guy. It says, with Turkey, such an amazing. I got this in the way. Get it out of the way so I can read. All right, on Instagram, such an amazing force in entertainment. Now, some people say, well, he's talking about Brawler. Now, I will be with you with that if it was just Brawler. But now we're hearing the Saudis put in $10 billion to get their minority shares of WB and turn DC. So this definitely ain't about just some Brawler. And in the fact that everyone is talking about the connection between the Saudis, DC, and Zack. Zack, liked the post recently talking about Turkey Al-Sheikh and the Saudis restoring the SnyderVerse. Then Zack that's just like Zack a couple months ago. Everyone was talking about Dark Knight Returns. And then Zack puts a picture with it. I got some new clay sculptures, and he got Dark Knight Returns just sitting right behind it. Because Zack knows what we're talking about online. This is as clear as day. Now people are talking about the Saudis. Then Zack posts, my friend Turkey, he's an amazing force. It's going to be really amazing when he does Justice League 2 in theaters. So the connection is there. We're going to talk about this connection every week because it's only getting closer to fruition as far as when this deal closes. Again, they're saying they're expecting this deal. Again, this is Paramount insiders are saying they think this deal could close in July. So 3 months from now. And then by the end of the year, Paramount will be in the building, and it'll be about planning on what, the changes they need to make, how they want to expand things overall. But David Ellison is coming in. He brought up the Warner Brothers deal with CINEMACON, and he's really pushing a one company approach. So he's definitely going to have a lot of say over what Warner Brothers will attempt to do. And these investors, they're going to have an idea. Part of the leaked deal, the deal that everyone tried to deny, everything on this deal is being confirmed. Because when this came out, you had some wise guys saying, well, Paramount categorically denied it. Anytime someone says categorically, like, that shouldn't even be a real word that people uses. Because what does categorically mean? It just means it's not completely correct. It could be one letter off. So categorically is incorrect. So I'm not buying it. That's not real when someone says categorically. Okay, that is one thing. But people say, well, Paramount denied this deal. Under the scenario led by Paramount Skydance, the Saudi, Qatar, Abu Dhabi funds will hold small minority stakes in Warner Bros. Discovery. Each of the three will get an IP, a movie premiere, a movie shoot. All they care about is reputation and soft power. Now the deal is out there publicly, is publicly signed off on. They got their reputation and soft power. They got that minority stake in Warner Brothers, and the Saudis paid more than all of them. Along with that, they're going to get their IP, movie premiere, and movie shoot. So people got to stop playing. All of that is coming together now. That's why we're behind this. Not because of some hashtag that we want to win. Except Mr. J, he made up ZSJL on Paramount. That's going to be confirmed, right? Because Paramount Plus is going to absorb HBO Max. So ZSJL is going to be on Paramount Plus. That's going to be the hashtag that's going to win. but that's not what, we're not behind this for some kind of trending event. Zach can trend on the internet just by posting stuff like this, and then we follow suit. See, people made a mistake out there thinking it was about the movement they were going to start. All these trending events and ideas that people came up. What a hashtag really won? Release a Snyder Cut. That's what won. It wasn't your side events and everything that you're trying to do. It was that one idea that everyone got behind. When you had even Ben Affleck tweeting it. So it's not about coming up with some new hashtag. It's about getting behind this momentum, this real momentum. Again, if the momentum was with Netflix, if they were giving Zack Snyder projects, it would have been no smoke for Netflix. Even though I was still in the way I had that victory stream and y'all did nothing. You really did nothing. But if they were in the Zack Snyder business, we'll be right with them. They haven't been, and now you're seeing this connection. That's why we're on the Paramount train. Now, if they mess up, then it'll be a whole nother round of clapbacks. But yeah, it's like we don't, because people, they've been asking this, in the chat, last minute comments or questions, throw it in the chat. We'll start winding down. But when Zach was getting so active since his last fall on Instagram, and then that countdown to ZSJO anniversary, I thought was the most telltale symbol. I was like, okay, Zach, the 214. I was like, okay. Zach knows we're paying attention. And if nothing was happening at all, Zach wouldn't have did that 214 thing. He wouldn't have did that because he knows what that means to us. You see, he does not play with his fan base. And we know the deal has to close first. People wanted stuff before, as I said, in 2021, Zach was teasing the Snyder Cut coming out that February, and he couldn't say nothing to May. So there's precedence in Zack Snyder trying to tease something before he really could say it. That's why I'm thinking some of these people are kind of new. Like maybe they haven't been through those wars. I don't know. But we've seen how Zack Snyder has moved before. And this is the most active Zack has ever been on social media. So yeah, Zack's not playing with us. He never would have did the 214. He never would have did that. So that told me, I was like, okay, something's happening. And then you see him liking posts about the Saudis. Like, oh, okay. Zack knows what we're looking at. Yeah, won't need no more hashtag. Now, there's the movement for the Ayer cut. There's some goofies kind of surrounding some of that stuff, but the original thrust of the Ayer cut, much respect. I think it could be a chance for that. But, as far as release of Snyder Cut, that's the hashtag that won. Even if Netflix would have bought Warner Brothers, that's still didn't guarantee the SnyderVerse. Am I saying this is guaranteed the SnyderVerse? I'm getting really close to saying that, but they have to follow through, and then we really could celebrate. This is the scenario where we have our best shot. That's why we're on it. So we're going to keep our eye on any clues on this, any movement. Again, Zack is aware of what we're seeing with the Saudi connection. And I think that's enough for me right now until we get this deal closed. Till the deal closes, then it's going to really get interesting and ramp up what's going on. And it's about Restore. That's what it's about. As I mentioned, with the members, there'll be more CINEMACON highlights for YouTube members, so stay tuned. They'll be popping up over this weekend here. Patreon, separate platform, Patreons. It's going to be a Avengers Doomsday video discussion, rumor roulette, something. There's going to be a lot, though. I'm hearing too much about Avengers Doomsday. And I'm seeing they're starting to put out some false stories, too. So that's going to be a whole segment on the Patreon. So stay tuned with that all around. Last photograph in November, Brawler soon. Yeah, so there was a story out there. I didn't pull that up, but for y'all here, but apparently there seems to be some belief within Zack Snyder's camp that they can get the last photograph released this November. Interesting. If there's any momentum behind that, as far, because again, Netflix didn't want it. That's the thing of these Netflix people. It's like they're in their feelings when you poke holes and stuff. But anyway, Netflix didn't want the last photograph, so Zack has to shop it. Right now, can Netflix come back and get it? That'd be kind of silly, but okay, I'll take it if Netflix wants to come back and make right with Zack. I actually would. But Paramount got the WB in DC now. But that would be great. That would be great. But I think what that means, if Zack feels last photograph can come out this November, that means it could be a couple suitors for the film. So Zack probably just has to pick one. You know what I'm saying? And then he's pretty confident they both will say they will put it out November. So we'll see. If I'm going to guess and who I want to get it, I hope A24 gets it. I hope A24 gets the last photograph and they put it out. And I think they get distributed through WB. Let me double check on that. Let's see who distributes they kind of have different deals, but I think that's a connection with WB. Oh, they distribute their own films. Okay, so they don't try to spend a lot of money. So streaming, they'll probably go to HBO Max or something. But so yeah, A24. I hope A24 gets it because they actually distribute their own films. So that's great. That's great. As far as Brawler, I mean, I like the Paramount idea, and this is one thing people assume because Paramount has a UFC on Paramount Plus that they think, well, Paramount should have the film rights too, but they don't. Just technically, they don't. I mean, I'm just saying it because just people are, just assuming that's part of the deal, and it's not. It requires a separate deal. The deal for UFC on Paramount Plus is for live events only. That's what that deal is. For films and film rights, that doesn't guarantee, but I hope Paramount gets it done, right? I think they should get it done, right? But if Universal jumps in and wants to distribute Brawler, I'm not going to be mad at that, right? Amazon MGM, they could jump in, right? So I'm just keeping my options open with Brawler. But I do hope Paramount is be a nice synergy because you got the Saudis already, Stone Quarry, Paramount. That's the new Trinity right there. That James Gunn, Nicholas Holt, Corn Sweat. That wasn't the right Trinity. I want Saudis, Paramount, Snyder. That's what we want for the Trinity. So yeah, I'm with you with the Paramount with that. And now I heard, I think was this last year? I heard from people in the know of A24, and they want a Zack Snyder project. I put that out there before. This could be perfect if his last photograph. There's other projects Zack wants to do on the low, but I heard A24 wants to do business with Zack Snyder. So let me just reiterate that. Let's put that out there. If his last photograph, great. If they don't get last photograph, I believe they're going to get another project. They're going to get something from Zack Snyder. So let's see. We're catching up with the comments before we close this out. Again, this is the weekly show. We're tracking down and counting down this Paramount WB deal, any Saudi connection, anything pointing us to restore. That's what this Saturday show is about. It will be some more content during the week. I got to take care of the members first with the CINEMACON coverage because there's a lot of fun stuff, a lot of trailers. I'm going to discuss with members on that, YouTube members. And then it will be some drops during the week as well and clips and stuff like that. So we're definitely going to be staying active with film discussions. Let's see. Trying to get through the rest of this here. Turkey was at a Netflix event, and Zach liked to post. Yeah, I think that was through Turkey Al-Sheikh's his company. He did like a fight event on Netflix or something like that. Netflix is getting more into live sports events. I mean, they got a bunch of podcasts on Netflix. That's kind of flopping. I think they wasted a lot of money. But that's a whole nother story there. But and actually Netflix stock has gone down 10% because people thought when Netflix when Netflix signed off on the WB deal, the pending deal, their stocks like plummeted, right? Like Wall Street hated Netflix owning WB. And then once Netflix pulled out, their stock shot back up. Plus they gained $2.8 billion. They're like, oh, Netflix won. Now people were swearing Netflix was going to get WB having victory streams. And now they're saying, oh, Netflix is smart from pulling out. So are you going to erase your victory stream? I'm lost. I'm lost at the theories of all this stuff. But the thing, once Netflix pulled out, then Wall Street was like, okay, get back in your lane. It's all good. Plus you got $2.8 billion. Go be great. But Netflix kind of stumbled after pulling out. And so their stocks have actually dropped 10%. Now, I should have bought them when it dropped like a month ago. It seriously dropped. I missed out on my chance. They didn't drop enough right now, but Just Netflix, they gotta, just get back in their lane, stay cute over there. Now there's reports Netflix saying, oh, now we want to explore theaters. All the studios that was at CINEMACON, there was not one Netflix presentation. See, this is when we talk about staying in your lane. Netflix has never had a real relationship with theaters all their years. They've had these one or two events here and there where you show a movie for a day or two. CinemaCon don't want that type of business. We're trying to sell films, the theater experience. And now we're talking about at least 45 days. See, Netflix will never do that. I don't care what they were trying to say. And again, Sorrento's let it slip out. Oh, Superman got cut short. We could do that too. And then it leaked out 17 days. They were going to do some films for 3 weekends and then pull them and watch them on Netflix. That's your business model. We get it. But you had no presence in CinemaCon because you're not built for theaters. Netflix, that's it. And you was trying to own Warner Brothers? Come on. Just saying. It is what it is, man. See, the Netflix influencers are going to have another 4-hour stream talking about it. I mean, I wish they would come up with something like just malleable, just something that palatable that we can actually talk about. There's no points. Why do you feel Netflix was going to restore the SnyderVerse? I just believe. Just believe? Believe this. Justice. What if you... Now they're saying, oh, don't worry about Justice on there. Just worry about that was GSJL. That actually wasn't ZSJL. That was from the Come Together trailer. That wasn't a frame from Zack Snyder's Justice League. That was a frame from the potential 2017 Justice League. And then that got flipped up and mixed, with Whedon. That wasn't a frame from ZSJL. But that is Justice. There's no... Why did you believe they were going to restore the SnyderVerse? Because, Netflix, they the key. They the key to rejecting Zack Snyder films. Why isn't The Last Photograph on Netflix? Why did they turn down the LA SWAT film? When is Rebel Moon 3 and 4 coming out? What happened to the Armyverse? I mean, it just, come on, man. Hey, you thought you got behind something, you thought something was vibing, and it flopped. You can't use the hashtag no more. As I said before, in all my days, I've seen release, win, shout out to the Schumacher cut, air cut, the real ones with air cut, not the weirdos that surrounding it. But when air cut was pure, even Us United still alive, you can't hashtag Netflix no more.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. I said good day.
I want them to answer one of those questions. They even said, oh, Netflix, they got a partnership with AMC. AMC came out and said, man, Netflix, y'all got to step y'all game up because we like this Paramount deal. That saved theaters. So stop with these straw man arguments, uneducated, unbusinesslike approaches. Someone connect the dots. Your dots led to your hashtag failing. That's all that happened right there. All the people that you led to doing this Netflix stuff that you thought you were going against, trying to take out competition and stuff like that. I sat there and told y'all 2 years ago how this was going to end. And I just sat back and watched y'all. And only idiots fell for that. The True Still Nation, y'all didn't fall for that nonsense. Oh, sylabdul didn't pat you on your head. That's why you're mad at sylabdul. Hey, go do your hashtag, have fun. Now that's over. Let's get back to reality. That's where we're at. Anyway, we're looking at what can we do for Restore? What is the option for restore. That's what we're on. That's what we're talking about. But I do wish they could answer any of those questions. That would be great. So they triggered. I need them to answer a question. If they're gonna mention anything, that comment killed me right here too. They made a Netflix house. AMC is the way. AMC said, nah. Nah. Netflix ain't about this theatrical business. We hope they get better. We with Paramount. Insane, bro. Insane. Man, we're gonna slide on out of here again. We here for the weekly show. It will be information during the week as well, for sure. YouTube members, we got something for y'all. Patrons, separate platform. We definitely got some Avengers stuff, leaks, rumors, exclusives. That's all on the Patreon platform as well. That Netflix house, that sent me right there, bro. That sent me right there. And then Turkey LSG, he's at a Netflix event. But y'all was downplaying the Saudi stuff. See, that's why I don't like people like that. I don't trust people like that. You shouldn't trust people like that either. Very fair weather. If I can't get nothing out of this, I'm downplaying it. See, y'all didn't learn that from me. We go where the wind blows. We deal with reality. But we don't do that. Oh, we ain't with the Saudis. Oh, he's at a Netflix event? Yeah, Saudis, yeah. Maybe Paramount will sell the SnyderVerse to Netflix. No. Okay, don't use that hashtag no more. All right? Y'all already stopped using it. Y'all smart.
Sir, I said good day.
It's over. We're going to go and slide on out of here. Much love to Sylb Nation. Weekly show. We'll be back next week. Jules may be back. We'll see. But during the week, we'll have more commentary, members, Patreons, etc. Much love.
Watchmen forever vigilant, steady watching and listening, disciplined, militant, killing these dudes that started visiting. What's the latest word, yo, Syl, we need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Syl, we need to know. The ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in, we need to know. Your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show, let's go.